So if anybody's here with me now, give me some love, shoot me a thumbs up, a heart, some way that I know that I'm not talking to myself. Hello? Anybody there? Okay, so today I was reflecting upon self-acceptance and compassion and how we can't have it for another until we have it for ourselves. When we can actually see our own stuff and take the time to reflect on where it's coming from and allow it to surface and just accepting it for what it is or was, it builds a compassion that we can see it in other people and go, wow, I get that because I've been there. And it's not the same as saying, oh, this one had the same experience as I did, as much as it's, wow, I can stand back and see where they're coming from without having to step in and offer advice or feedback, just sit and listen. Something one of my teachers brought up during one of my teacher trainings in Kundalini, she reminded me that at any given time in our lives, we are either expanding or contracting. And what that means is we're either always going inside of ourselves, having the downtime, the self-nurture, the self-care time, or we're in that active space of going externally. We're doing things are happening, our life is moving and shaking. And of course, it's like the way the moon affects us, the ebb and the flow. You're either moving forward or going back. Emotions are just like that. They are fluid and they're meant to move through us. So as we have emotions that surface in us through experiences, interactions, triggers, something brings up an emotion in you. Even a simple word, it's amazing, can just bring an emotion to the surface in your body to where you feel it. And the reality is, it's not meant to be held on to. It's not meant to become attention. Attention, where attention goes, energy flows. The reality is, we tend to hold on to so much. And like I said the other day about how the breath, we hold on to it when we become tense, when an emotion triggers us, when something sets us off. Our physical body is the first place it's exhibited because it's repeated patterns, and the body listens to the mind. So as far as self-acceptance and compassion goes, one of the most important things we can do is take the time to recognize, oh, this emotion just surfaced, and just sit with it and ask it, where's this coming from? What is it telling me? What hasn't been healed in my life? And to really go back and just sit with it. Because ultimately, most of the times we're so quick on the go, we don't want to sit with anything. We're supposed to be active. We've been conditioned to keep moving. So that can wait. We'll throw that in the backpack or, down in the pile until it comes again and again. But when we sit with it and it's able to move through us, energy and motion, that's what emotions are. They're meant to stay in motion. They're not meant to sit in the physical body and build into dis-ease, physical pains, degenerations. All of the different symptoms that your body exhibits are a direct reflection of how you handle and deal with your emotions, and how the brain and the mind, which can go on its little tangent, can become more the torturer. We tend to torture ourselves. So again, allowing that to surface and appreciating and accepting it for what it is allows it to move through. Whereas if you let the mind try to dismiss it, push it off, let's not confront that, the mind will try to, like I said the other day, it's fight or flight. It's a survival mode. It's trying to protect you, and that's very endearing. It's a chivalrous act. But what good is the mind if it doesn't serve you? If we're constantly running from things or trying to suppress them, then this is where it lodges into the body. So one of the most important things you can do is just simply recognize emotions as they come up as being what they are. Not to judge it, not to judge yourself, because a lot of times when you sit with that emotion, you'll realize that experiences and different events, life events that have happened in your life, somewhat traumatic, because usually that's what triggers emotions. But don't judge it. Just see it for what it was. See how it shaped the choices you made in your life. Every experience we have is not meant to keep us stuck in the past. Every experience is given to you, is chosen by your soul, somehow, we don't know, like a GPS, to navigate. For you to have, let's say, a benchmark, something to use as a baseline of, wow, this was an experience I had, not judging it good or bad, but seeing it and saying, let's try a different way of approaching the next situation that happens. If we don't have experiences labeled good or bad, whatever you want to call them, we can't keep moving forward. We can't hide. Life is about living. And this life, we're meant to be here physically in this body. So while so much chaos in the world is going on and so many people want to find escape routes, whether it's through drugs, alcohol, arguing, whatever it is your vice might be, the hardest thing we can do is sit with ourselves and try to figure out who we are and what makes up this being that we've become. To take those experiences, to take those emotions, and to see how they brought you to where you're at. Life is becoming more complicated the more we let the mind run it, but we can go within because we have everything we need to know right here in the physical form. So if anybody has any questions, that's great too, because that can help interaction. I love it. It really boils down to just going within and using the breath. The hardest thing people tell me is, I can't meditate, I can't sit down. You don't always have to be meditating in a seated position. I meditate in a way that when I'm doing yard work, for example, my mind can go into a reflection mode, because meditation is simply the cleaning out of the garbage of the mind. So you're meant to have all these thoughts come up, but don't harbor on them. Let them just flow through. Energy and motion, just like energy, emotion, you have to allow those things to go. You have to learn to let go. So to have the compassion for self and others, you have to accept where you're at. You have to allow things to be, to let them pass through, and without judgment, just see them for what they are. I'm not precluding that we not live a physical life and all the realities of it, but what I'm saying is we have to actually go within. So we have to have those moments of contraction. We need time, downtime, for us to see where we're coming from. Oh, thank you, Patrick. Well, how do you break the bond of useless thinking? One of the things that works the most for me, mantra. Because what is it? A lot of useless thinking is repeated, correct? We're constantly saying the same thing over and over and over again. Most of the times it's so unconscious and subconscious, we're not even hearing it in the head, but it's so buried within. That's where it ends up in the physical body. So many of the old paradigm statements that we heard growing up, repeated, 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 no longer do we hear the words, but it's actually part of us. So it's a matter of reprogramming that as well. That's a pain in the butt, right? So you can turn around and look at your life and go, nothing comes free, nothing comes without hard work. And do you hear that all the time? No, but it's part of the whole old programming. So as far as how to break that bond of useless thinking, because I do a lot of Kundalini yoga, I try to turn to mantras, which are repeated words that have a special vibration to break through the mind chatter. I really like, you could just as simply just pick up Satnam, Satnam. You can use any word. Choose something that resonates with you, something that feels good. I'm going to work through this. Or, we can be silly. We don't have to use traditions in the sense of what everybody else is doing. We have to find what works for us. Get away from dogma. But I'll tell you what, there's a point when you go, I'm going to try this. And you see when it works. So, yeah, come check out one of my Kundalini classes. I'm actually teaching every Thursday night now in Oldsmar. Pranique is the name of the studio, and it's from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock in the evening, and that'll be every Thursday now. So yeah, and I can talk you through some mantra and some meditation, because we always do meditation. Exactly, you don't have to use just Vedic words, or in the case of Kundalini yoga, it's actually Gurmukhi. So hi Vandana, hope you're enjoying your trip. All right, I was really kind of a little nervous because I wasn't sure who all was going to show up, and I didn't want to make it too long. It seems I'm averaging around 13 minutes. So I just want to say thank you for joining. Be kind to self, accept yourself, let those emotions come up, breathe through them. Sometimes it really seizes you up. Use the breath to flush it out. Let it be like the water in the ocean. Let it flow. Energy and motion. Don't hold that in. Let it go. So, many blessings, everyone. Have a great evening. Bye.